Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I will be talking to an author whose book I have read and enjoyed recently. And this time we have a repeating guest. She's coming on the show for the third time. And she's coming with the same book, but the third part of the book series that she has recently put out. And her name is Sonali Raje. We are going to talk about the latest book in her book series, and it's going to be a really interesting conversation. It's a mythological fiction book, and we are going to discuss in detail how she went about writing the book. So do stay connected. Hi, Vishu sir. Thank you for joining. My guest today is author Sonali Raje, and we are going to talk about her book, The Empress of Indraprasth, Part 3 Nadir. And it's a mythological fiction book. It's going to be a really interesting conversation, so do stay connected. And let me just wait for a few minutes for my guest to be in the audience so I can start the episode. She's not here yet. I'm sure she'll be here soon. Do stay connected. Thank you, Vishu sir. So her book is a retelling of the Mahabharata from Draupadi's point of view, and this is the third book in the series. We are going to discuss that. She's not here yet, so that's why I cannot begin before she joins. To stay connected, and extremely sorry for the delay. Okay, yes, Sonali is here. Hi, Sonali. Let me just quickly send you. I don't think it went through. Instagram generally takes 2 attempts to be able to send the invitation to the guest. Yes, I have sent you another invitation, Sonali. See if you. Hey, hi, Sonali. Welcome. Welcome back to the show, I must say. You are becoming a veteran in the show, I think.
कितने रहे थे ना we were like trying to get it early on and then it just kept pushing back
I,
and back and back. But
I was just thinking when we finalized the date, the first thought that came to my head was last year भी इसी time पे हमने किया था. It was Ekadashi only, I think, right?
I think around time only we and last time we were planning for several months and then finally we got
Yeah.
the date which both of us.
So I think every Diwali fix है. I have to invite you. यही time है.
It'll be great to talk to you.
Same here. And firstly, congratulations on the book and the third part of the series, which is finally out. And मैंने तो पढ़ी है, and I loved it. But I have also looked at other reviews and the thoughts that are coming in from various readers and the responses. I believe overall it is being received very well. So congratulations on that.
Congratulations to you too. I mean, all of your stuff is also being like very well received. So congratulations to you too.
Thank you. Nilshri is here. Hi, Nilshri. And yes, ethnic vibe. See, as I was saying, Sonali's book demands that, and she generally comes on the show during the Diwali time. So this particular episode, I make sure that I dress ethnically. मतलब पूरा Indian होना है मुझे, देसी.
Really.
Yes. So before we start, you are coming on the show again, but I'm sure we have some new people joining in the audience. So firstly, introduce yourself.
So I'm Sonali Raje, the author of the Empress of Indraprasth series. I have a family here, one husband, thankfully. Or yeah, I mean, I'm a chemistry professor, and writing just happened. It was just, quite frankly, I'm an accidental author. This was never planned. So far, the journey's been good, and I'm enjoying the journey. So, jab tak it lasts, great. We'll see what life.
Don't say that. I mean, well, we as readers would miss out on a lot if you hadn't become an accidental author, I feel.
want to like say?
Okay, so quickly, I am going to first show the cover to everyone. This is the third book in the series, and that's the cover. It's the part three called Nadir. And again, what a beautiful cover. I mean, just amazing. The detailing is so nice, and even before you are, you know, reading the story, you have an idea कि ये किस बारे में है cover. And then when you read the story, you realize what scene that is. Okay, I don't want to give out much into the book, but I would like to start by reading from the first chapter itself. Firstly, let me share my thoughts about the book. I have read the previous two parts, and what I really liked about the series so far is that how well connected the books are. I mean, there's a very smooth flowing transition from one part to the other. That's one thing that I really liked. And also, the most important episode of the series occurs in this book. In the Mahabharat, it happens in this book. So this was like, the pivotal point of the story. And that episode, you have written it so well. I was like, oh my God. I had never looked at it from this perspective, and we are getting to look at Draupadi's thoughts. And probably that has not been done before in such detail. That's what I really liked. And then their life as nomadics, they are living in the forest, and that 1 year that they went incognito, and how they have taken up different identities, and what happens during those 12, 13 years. Wonderful. I loved it. Okay. So I'm going to read out from the first chapter itself. It's titled Invitation. And we already have Nilsri's comment here. It's so crucial to keep readers hooked. And you have managed series after series. Kudos to you. I agree.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So this is the first chapter and it's titled Invitation. I relaxed as the routine wheel of daily life turned predictably over the next several months after the Rajsuya Yagna. Now, if only my body would know that I was done having children. If only I would not have to go through this monthly torture anymore. I thought wistfully as I felt a warm gush of menstrual blood, accompanied by yet another painful cramp, shoot down my lower back. Charulekha, I called in a low, tired voice. Immediately she entered, carrying a basin of flattened hot stones that she carefully placed on the bed and covered them with a thick sheet. I lay back down on it, feeling the warmth seep through me, and eventually the pain receded. Sri Samrat has asked me to inform you that there was a messenger from Hastinapur in the court this morning, she said as she bustled around the room, completing her task. A messenger for Hastinapur. What for? I asked in tones of great surprise. Jeshtachi has invited all of us to celebrate our success on executing the Rajsuya, Deem said as he entered the bedroom. Charulekha immediately exited with a low bow in his direction. Really, that's perfect then. It will give me a chance to apologize to Tajsri, and I will also be able to meet Ma Gandhari and Bhanumati. We should go. I responded enthusiastically. He looked at me steadily. What, you are really going to do it then? He asked quietly as he took my hands in his. What do you mean? Of course I am. The earlier the better. I assume Yudhishthir accepted the invitation? I said quizzically as I slowly sat up with his assistance. Yes, he did. He was hoping we could go soon. Beam replied. I will be ready for travel in a week. I can't handle a bumpy chariot ride during this time. I said heavily. So tell me, are you looking forward to visiting Hastinapur again after all these years? I continued. So this is the beginning of the series, and they have received an invitation to go to Hastinapur, and then what happens is fairly known to all of us mostly. So, based on my reading of this particular book and the series so far, I couldn't help but thinking about one question that was running in my head. And the first question that I have for you is that when writing such a mythological fiction, which is so popular, you are dealing with two kinds of readers, right? The ones who have read the original and the other multiple perspectives and retellings that have been out there. And then there is a reader who's not so well versed with the original text, neither the backstories or the characters. So my question to you is that how do you manage to uh, take care of both these kind of audiences when writing such a story? And what are the things that one should take care of as an author?
So that's a great question. In fact, that is the one that always weighs on my mind whenever I decide to craft a scene. But what I have decided is I want to make sure that I strike a balance between respecting the original
Hmm.
as well as giving the readers something new which they will not necessarily get free on the internet, because the Bori edition that I have used for most of my reading, and the Kisan Mohan Ganguly version, is available free on the internet. So personally, I don't see a point in making readers spend money when they can just get something, just downloaded, or something that they can find in any other author's book.
Yeah.
So definitely made sure that I strike that balance. So some of the scenes that I have kept, which are original to the Bori Mahabharat, is where Draupadi doesn't say that she's going to wash her hair with his blood or anything.
Hmm.
ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं.
Hmm.
Doesn't even say that I'm going to leave my hair untied. So
Hmm.
those are popular interpolations of where, like, it's happened in the TV serials or in so many other books that वो बाल खुले छोड़ने वाली है. But I've made sure that I don't say that. And the reason for that is, this is a feminist story, but I want to make sure that I give Draupadi a voice. So what I have digressed from in the original is, she doesn't insult Karn in her Swayamvar,
Hmm.
which I have shown. I have used the KMG version where she's saying, like, I don't want to marry you. And to keep so the epics are always relevant even today,
Hmm.
but at the same, I want to make sure that you don't want to have submissive, suppressive women all the time.
Hmm.
It's time for women are speaking up. So I've kept that aspect of the other story where she says,
Hmm.
"Ki nahi mujhe karna," because she has her rights and she's exercising those rights. So
Right.
the trying to strike the balance is by determining, is that episode that is written in the original, is the ethos of that episode or that writing relevant today, and can it possibly cause some kind of friction between
Hmm.
what the idea, what it was in those times.
Hmm.
So I've kept Draupadi's voice where she like stands up for herself and मुझे इससे शादी नहीं करनी है. So I've digressed from that original part, but where she doesn't say that I'm going to wash my hair with his blood, like all this gore and violence, we already have
Hmm.
enough of it already, right?
Hmm.
So that was unnecessary. So I decided to stick to the original in those aspects of it.
Wow. And I'm just going to take a pause from this because we have received some wonderful comments from the audience. Vijaya is saying, I have read both of your works and I must say both of you are amazing. Thank you, Vijaya. And Aparna is here. Hi, Sonali ma'am and Manali. Hi, Aparna. And he's also saying that that balance is struck. I think she's talking about what you said about right now. And Saswata is here. She's saying, hi, good to see you. Hi, Saswata. Thank you for joining. Okay. Yeah, and yes, see, I'm one of those audiences where I was saying that I have not read the original. I have not read the original, and I know very little about the original text or the adaptations thereafter. My knowledge is very half-baked. So I am looking at your text as if I'm reading it for the first time. I only knew a few episodes from the Mahabharata from here and there, and you have managed to tell me the story from to somebody that who is not aware of anything about anyone. किसी कैरेक्टर का बैक स्टोरी नहीं पता है. So that 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 bit I understood because I am a new reader. But then I was also wondering कि किसी ने पढ़ा है, बहुत सारा पढ़ा है, and they have also read many retellings. So how would they take it? I want to ask you, what has been the review from those kind of readers?
So so there are purists of the original who just will not like any kind of retelling.
Hmm.
I would say there are two main categories, and then there is like some population in between.
Hmm.
So readers who have read the original Vyas Mahabharata, right? They especially don't like the retellings where there is the Karn Draupadi love angle.
Hmm.
Retellings, even very popular retellings, and it's been going on for a long time now.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not new fictional readers. It's been done in Mrityunjay, several other books which have like have that storyline. Some of them are even Sahitya Akademi Award winners. So um, that is what most people don't like. Some people don't like any kind of digression, like this is the keep it to the exactly as it is. But my feeling is that unless those epics are retold with they they are relevant today, but and the lessons are very much important even in this day and age. But I think over a period of time, over thousands of years, retellings have always been done, and it's not going to be something that is, unless those epics are retold, they will eventually not exist anymore. So I think them alive and make sure that all the issues that society faces those times are also clarified through the epics. So that's what there have been some purists who have like no kind of retelling should ever be allowed. But then there are also people who are like, yeah, it's good to have some creative liberty. Otherwise, what's the point of this right? So I've
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
mixed readers
Both
also,
kind, both kind of readers. Yeah. Sure. And
and
it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
yeah, it's inevitable. Exactly.
Yeah. Aparna is also saying, like you, Manali, even I wasn't well versed with the original, but now after reading Sonali ma'am's work, I feel like our teenagers must read this first and then the original.
And Aparna is making a very good point, because what happened was even I had read a lot of the retellings, and because they were like sometimes so contradictory, I felt like, okay, itna sab hai, what is the reality? So I actually went back and read the original because of all the retellings. So this can also be an impetus for somebody to feel कि ये सब लोग लिख रहे हैं, but I want to see what the original is. So in fact, help people go back to their roots and see what the original says.
Yes.
It like a dead story, so promotes reading of the original also. It depends on how you, it's on your own mentality.
Yeah.
So
That's a great point. Yeah. I think after reading yours, I have also become a little curious to check out the original.
yeah.
And then you want to compare ki, is the retelling justified, and whether what the author was saying was true to the essence of the original, and how much they have changed and put in their perspective.
Yeah, I agree. And see, that's what happened to me. I'm sure that's what happened. That is what will happen to a lot of people.
Yeah.
They'll read some of the retellings available in the market, but they'll also consider कि अभी इतना सब है, so we want to go back and see what the original is.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay, that brings me to my next question, which is just I'm pulling up the questions here. So, I was mentioning earlier how you have maintained the flow throughout the series. There have been 3 books now, and there is a certain level of consistency that you have maintained, and there is also a recall to some of the incidents that happened in the previous books. So, when writing such a book series, how does an author maintain that kind of a consistency? That's my first part of the question, and the second part of my question is that does one have to have a template ready कि ये book ये series में ये part में ये जाएगा और ये part में ये जाएगा? Does that have to be ready in your mind?
So for me, when I was thinking of writing, so what happened for me luckily was I knew how the book was going to end. Like I knew exactly how the series was going to end. So because I goal and because I knew what I was exactly going to do in the last chapter or the last book of the series, it was a little bit easier to navigate the path, and should everything be known beforehand? No, at least I didn't. And what I have done was, but I do like the I do want the series to be. I think it's important for any author to make sure that the series is internally consistent, whether it is the original or not. At least your writing has to be consistent with what I've done in the past. So I'm not a fan of like write out everything. I'm not that organized, quite frankly. And when I say I'm not a fan, it's because simply I'm not that organized. I know people who draft have like the very organized, very well set flowchart. कि इसमें ये आना है, उसमें ये आना है. So roughly in my mind what I want, but then as the world around me evolves, as I see different, I feel ki, okay, maybe this is more relevant than what I had thought 5 months back or 2 years back. I'm going to change it a bit. Let's see what the readers say. Personally, for me, like if unless I'm happy with the writing, I'm not going to make anyone else happy. I mean, I know it sounds a bit like selfish, but you have to feel ki I have done my best. This is it. Like, think more than this. This is the story I want to tell. It's what is most relevant, and let's just go from there.
Wonderful. That brings me to a follow-up question that just came up in my mind. Something that I have observed with myself also, because I have also done a three-part novel. The third part is not yet out, but something that I have observed is that when we have a gap between the books, we also grow as writers. So how does one deal with that? Like you are also comparing your text from 5 years ago, and then the second book, which was probably 2 years ago, and then now you are working on the third one, which is going to be another growth spurt in you as a writer. Yeah, see, Aparna is also saying the same thing. We grow as writers over a period of time. Our style changes. So how do we maintain the voice of the character in a series? Yeah, that was my question also.
So maintaining the voice of the character, I think is I think it's important to know that your character is also going to change, and the character is also going to grow. So it's okay, fine, to allow the character to be different, a little bit different than we had. But I don't think it's the thing is, to for change to happen, there needs to be a pivotal situation in your character's life. In my case, it was easy because we all knew what the pivotal situation was going to be. So, from being a loving wife, a stateswoman, a politician, to this warrior who knows that she has no choice to stand up for herself because the men around her aren't doing anything. To wait for them forever. She's just going to take stuff in her own hands and be done with all the injustices that come her way. But I think if you're writing a fictional story, especially if it's a long story or a series, it's fine to allow. I think it's important to allow your character to mature over a period of. But the key is it has to happen over a period of time. You know, Shadi ke baad next day, suddenly the character is changing because
Yeah.
does expect you to have character development. So the first thing I think authors need to ignore and like reflect back on themselves, the situations around them, see how things have changed, see how people have changed, and try that in your own story so that it feels more realistic, it feels more relatable.
Yeah. Well, thank you for answering that. That would help me. I think I'm just about beginning to start the third part of my series, and that's going to help a lot. So thank you.
Can I? And one of the questions from your, like, I want to, like, I was reading your book and I have one really favorite story from it.
Yes, so I am just going to leave the floor open to you now. You can talk about heartstrings and harmonies and your experience and any questions that you have.
So I want to do what you did and read a bit of like one story that is my favorite,
Yeah.
because it is my favorite Bollywood rain romantics. And when I story on that, like perfect. So it's one luckily it is the first one, so that just like got me hooked onto it. Like, so I'm just going to read the first one, the Pitter Patter story. Shreyas sang along to the lyrics of the song while driving. He sighed contentedly when the lyrics paused and there was just the melodious music. The tune stirred something deep within his soul. He couldn't help but gaze longingly at the raindrops paving their way down the windshield while waiting at a red light. Honestly, this is something that even I do, and when it's raining and when you're just waiting in the traffic or something. So when the radio jockey said this one is for all the lovers of rain out there, enjoy the first showers of the season with your beloved, he hadn't expected it to turn out his own favorite monsoon track. The only missing factor here is the beloved Miss Nisha. He addressed the stereo system. Listening to her soothing voice while commuting to work had become a habit, more of an addiction, really. So you said that sentence, right? More of an addiction, really. And in the next line you have, you should call her Nasha and not Nisha. I think that line, I mean, talk about perfect, like so accurately done. Ashwin hit
Thank you.
commuted with him to work had once commented. That's quite apt, and honestly, it's just perfect. It's your girl signing off now. Remember to tune in at 8 a.m. every day to Chai or Gupshup. One question I have for you is why is it not Chai or Charcha, and why is it Chai or Gupshup? You know,
Yeah. So I'm a person who avoids any kind of political references, direct or indirect. I don't want to fall into troubled waters. वो परेश रावल का डायलॉग है ना फ्रॉम हेरा फेरी, बिल्कुल रिक्स नहीं लेने का. So,
अरे क्या बॉडी आंसर दिया है एकदम परफेक्ट एकदम परफेक्ट.
so yeah, and also chai or gupshup was something that went with the vibe of the entire show that this RJ Nisha was handling. So I felt like why not? Chai Pe Charcha is already done, and it wouldn't match with what the show this character was doing, and it wouldn't also vibe with the story that I was trying to convey. So, chai or gupshup.
So Aparna has said I wanted the story to go on for some more time, which was exactly what I felt. Like this ended up too too abruptly. My yeah, I mean I see that Aparna is also agreeing. But let me ask you another question. Okay.
Hmm.
You used Bollywood as your theme, like that's your signature. Like anytime I see this, I'm like, okay, this is a Manali story because I in love and Ja, Simran Ja. So you have this, you've carved out this niche for yourself. Like, oh, this is your thing. So if you were not to use music
Hmm.
as your go-to theme, like Bollywood music, have you considered something else? Like, what would be your alternative go-to, and why would you consider that? You can
Wow.
think about it for a
Yeah. I have to because over the past few books, I've only relied on music as my backbone for my stories. And yeah, at least the last three books that I have written, they have had music as a very integral part. Uh, be it my poetry book, be it my novel, or now this book. I'm thinking, what else could it be? So I have done books and stories without music also, but मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि the three books where I have integrated music into them, they have been received well, and I have also been satisfied as a writer more.
So that if that is your thing, then that's fine. I mean, if you see that's the thing. Like you have to be satisfied as a writer. So your
Yeah.
idea is to use music in your stories. So let me ask you another question then.
Hmm.
On that, would you consider writing a story about older couples, like something that's mature love, instead of Dil?
Very interesting that you asked that, and it somehow makes me feel that you are reading the stuff that I'm putting out regularly on my blog now. something around something around those lines is already brewing in my head, and yes, this thought also came to me, and I was like, why not turn it into something bigger? So yes, I do want to do a story or a bunch of stories where we are talking about the older generation and older couples and the love that can come at a later stage in life, or maybe it happened during their young age, but how it blossomed over the years. That also I want to look at, 40, 50, 60 years of togetherness, how does that look like?
Yeah,
So yes.
interesting to see that because a lot of times I think the romance books out there meet, शादी हो जाती है, and then and they end happily ever after, just like the.
Yeah, there's very few books which talk about the after of happily ever after.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amit is here. He's saying, I have gone through the originals, but I wish I could have gone through Sonali Raje's write ups first. While reading, it's always thrilling to anticipate what next is coming. Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and in a way, actually, what he says is making sense because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैंने नहीं पढ़ी original, so I am able to enjoy the story more somehow, I feel.
yeah,
So that
so
makes sense.
sometimes I get these self doubts like, okay, should readers read the original first and then read these fictionals? Should readers read fictional retellings at all? but I think everything has its merit, and
Hmm.
how you choose to take each story. I think it's important to make sure that the author, whatever the author is trying to say, if they're just trying to tell a story, then you can just read it for fun and then be done with it.
Yeah.
If there is a in each of those stories, then one would hope that readers are able to take that message and go forward with it. So
Yeah.
the original has, I think, a lot of these retellings are also trying to put forward socially relevant messages.
Yeah. Sukana is here and she's saying hello. Hi, Sukana. And I think I missed out a comment from Aparna. But she was saying about my बिल्कुल risk नहीं लेने का. She's saying risk है तो risk. Yeah, I do take risks, but in terms of only my content and my creativity. I don't want to involve other parties.
And
Pun intended.
safe and like,
Yes. So I think we are done with our two long form questions, and that brings us to my favorite part of the episode, which is the rapid fire round. Okay, so should I ask my first question first,
no, let
or do you want?
me ask you. So, what's your song?
My favorite Bollywood song. There are so many. You are asking a music. It's like
Rain song. Favorite
rain
Bollywood.
song. Oh, rain song. So of course there is Rim Chim Gire Sawan तो है ही, but उसके अलावा there is Iktara from Wake Up Sid. जो end वाले scene में आता है ना वो वाला.
See that movie,
Wake
so
Up
I should watch it now
Sid नहीं देखी. Please watch. Please watch.
for sure.
And since you have read my book Love Triangle, I just थोड़ा सा बीच में ऐसा trivia डाल रही हूँ. The character Aisha Banerjee is inspired by that character. The
Oh,
female lead in that movie is also called Aisha
um,
Banerjee.
can I skip Barsa Pani? Yeah, that's also a good one.
That is a yeah.
Mine,
That's also there.
mine is Rim Jim, and that's why I said, like, when I saw that, I'm like, oh,
Yeah, that's more of a sensual song. But if you want to go by romance and soothing songs, then definitely Rim Chim Gire Sawan and Iktara.
okay, okay.
Yes. Okay. My first question to you is: you have written three books in this genre now, and you have also read much more than me, I believe, in this genre, mythofiction. So, my question to you is: one thing that you feel is sacrosanct to this genre, and why?
Um, I feel it's important to keep the vibe of the original throughout the. For anybody who's writing mythofiction, I think it's important for that author to read what the original says, and they can have their own creativity. But I think because this is our epics are so crucial to our culture, right? They are the foundation of the whole Indian culture. So to malign them in any way, I think is a little bit. There are so many fictional stories that you can write. So
Hmm.
I not have a big digression from the original,
Hmm.
but also it's important to have the writer's voice also. So I think that's the sacrosanct thing, that keep the original author ko disturb mat karo. If he comes back, he shouldn't be able to sue you and cite you for defamation.
Yeah. Or turn in their grave and haunt you.
Yeah.
We have a few people answering with their favorite monsoon tracks. Rimjim Gire Savan Aparna is saying. And Shrikant has another one, Barsore Mega from Good. Yeah, that's also a good one.
Good one. Yeah.
Aparna is saying this then has been a mini master class on mythofiction. Definitely, yeah. And
Thank you.
yes,
So
okay.
one more.
Yes.
You mentioned your favorite Bollywood rain song, but I know an author is not supposed to have favorites. Like we have our book bachchas, and all of us feel, apna bachcha sabse acha types. Then with that, is your personal favorite book bachcha among all the ones that you have written?
Oh my God, this is very difficult. Okay, just purely based on the feedback that I have received, I'm going to pick two books. And because they have, they also show my growth as a writer, I'm going to pick Heartstrings and Harmonies and Love and Melodrama. Both these books have been the most well received and they show my growth as a writer. So,
Okay.
time.
Perfect. Yeah. And this I love face was coming back to sue people.
And then Aparna is saying, Vyas uncle बुरा मान जाएंगे. Yeah, so Sukana has also agreed with my answer, love and melodrama.
I agree. There are two ones also.
Thank you so much. That makes me very happy. And also, it motivates me to, start working very consciously towards the last part of that book.
For sure, look.
Thank you so much. Okay, my next question to you is: besides Mahabharat, any other mytho fiction, just a minute, which is your favorite and why? It could be a non-Indian mytho also.
Um, I like Sita's sister,
Okay.
Kavita,
Hmm.
because it talks about Urmila and it gives her a voice that I had never read before. I mean, I know there are several retellings, but I think Sita's sister has been very well written. And Urmila ke baare mein, for the reason I think I like that was because I had never read about Urmila before that, and they're a really good, strong voice, and also portraying the side character because we have read so much about. I have written about Draupadi, who is a central figure.
Yeah.
But I've all as you said, as we grow as a writer, I've tried to make sure that I give a voice to all the other non-existent the other women in the stories of or the wives of the Pandavas. So yeah, so that was mine. Let me ask you a question. Your favorite non-rain Bollywood song? तो रेन वाला तो आपने बता दिया अभी नॉन रेन वाला कौन सा है?
Non-rain wala. This was something that I realized once I was done with all the 29 stories of this book. Of course, I love all the 29 songs, 30 songs in fact, that are a part of Heartstrings and Harmonies. But the one song I really missed out on was Mitwa from Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna. That's like top 5 favorite में आता है मेरे और इस book में नहीं है. That's why I feel bad.
Oh. Themed book?
Sorry?
Can we expect a Mitwa themed book sometime?
No. I think I'm done with Hindi songs. I do have a plan to put out a similar book, but with English songs. Because as somebody who grew up in the 90s, English songs were also very, they also have a nostalgic factor. उसके साथ भी थोड़ी memories attached है. So, yes. Okay, that brings me to my next question, which is your favorite part or chapter from all the 3 books that you have written in the series so far, and why?
So I also interesting. It's hard to find one chapter. Honestly,
any one book also you can pick.
My favorite part is book 5 actually. I know
wow.
So the build up to that. But among the 3 that have been published, I think I like the Vastraharan scene the most, where she is as she's strategizing, calculating. Even in that situation, she's not given up on her dignity.
Yeah. And there's one quote also, which I was very close to using that quote in my reel, but then I was like, no, we need to talk about sexual harassment of men also. That's also very important. But that was very close to being chosen as my quote for the reel, which is where she's saying that, in that one moment when I chose to stand up with dignity, I put down the wrongdoers.
Yeah, that one. And the sexual harassment of men is also one of the things that I liked I had to bring forth in book 3. But that one quote in where she when I stood up for myself, I don't remember exactly what I've written now, but that was the essence. Like when I forgot I have this blood stained sari. Let me see if I can pull it up.
मैंने मार्क किया हुआ है. It's in my annotation, so मुझे मिल जाएगा easily.
Yeah, I found it here.
In that just one subtle act of standing tall and refusing to consider myself a victim, I had successfully taken my power back. I had not lost my dignity, my tormentors had lost theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. And yeah, as much as I try to hide the signs of menstruation so that people would not see me in this state, after what had just transpired, I was a completely different person. The only option I had was to stand tall with courage. So it's like, it's, when you fall over and over again, that is when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it.
Yes. Thank you for answering that. Your turn again.
So you are a book lover, you're a music lover. Say uh, Santa's making you one gift, books or music. What would you pick?
No, no, I don't want that. In any case, I have both of them in here. दोनों साथ में मिल गया है मुझे.
Oh, yeah.
I will only ask Santa to renew the subscription for Kindle if he can do that without my money going out of my pocket.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. My next question to you is the longest time it took for you to write a particular scene or a chapter in the book, and which one?
So in book 3, where Draupadi meets Ashwin Karni,
Hmm.
where she's, that 10-year-old tribal girl, and the way the scene evolves. Earlier, 3 years back, I had Nakul in that scene.
Okay.
But then as as parts of book 5 becoming clearer in my head, I figured, no, I have to bring Bhim in. Uh, then that scene, I mean, I think I must have rewritten it over 100 times.
Oh my God.
Just that was the longest scene, and it was not just in like a short period of time, but it kept changing. 3 saal pehle it was a little bit different. Over the years, I changed it, and that was the one that was the longest.
So it took
Yeah.
you, wow, the longest, meaning I'm assuming it took you 3 years to give it the final touch.
So in my mind, the final touch was given when I had written it 3 years back. It was done. But then I used to go back for some reason. I used to just go back to that scene every few months. I would leave it aside, and then like when I was working on book 4, or even parts of book 2, because I had written the first 3, like 2.5 were already done before I approached a publisher. So for some reason, I would just go back and make edits to it, and then keep changing it. So yeah, that one, the Ashwin Karni one, is the my favorite, second
Yeah,
favorite, I would
yeah,
say.
it's wonderful. And also, I also like the little bit of humor that's going on with Beam.
Yeah, but that it wasn't there in the beginning. But I felt I want to put a touch of when he is encouraging Draupadi to just be there
Yeah.
for like, I'm not your savior. You can handle this on your own. So
And
just
he's also giving her a chance ki what happened in Hastinapur, this is your chance to get
yeah,
over that. Yeah. Get the angst out, take it out on this
yeah,
person. Yeah.
cathartic, because she's seeing a person who's trying to hurt a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I have another question. I don't know if you can really answer this, but what is the topic of your next writing assignment? I mean, you can keep it secret if you want to, but if you're willing to share a
No,
little
no.
bit.
My template has become pretty much predictable for most readers now over the past 3 years. So इस साल अभी तक एक poetry book आई नहीं है. So that's definitely coming by December of this year.
Oh, so it's a poetry book that's coming
Yes,
next.
yes.
What
Yeah,
is
yeah. So every year I do one fiction and one poetry. Fiction is already done with Heartstrings and Harmonies. Poetry is still left. So poetry will come out before the end of this year.
okay? So what about the third part of Love and Melodrama?
Yeah, sometime uh, mid of 2025.
Okay,
Sometime in mid of 2025. Yes.
perfect.
Yes. Okay. My next question to you, which is the last one also, which is a character you feel is overshadowed in the epic and in the original and all the subsequent adaptations and retellings. Why?
Um, There are so many. I mean, it's so hard to pick. Many stories have been written about Kunti, Draupadi, even Bhanumati, Duryodhan's wife, Duryodhan himself, Karn, Arjun, um, Yudhishthir. I mean, it's so hard to. Even Bhishma. I don't know. So Hidimba was always one of the characters I was interested in
Hmm.
because I that has been overshadowed. Um, and I have tried to give her space in this retelling, primarily because it's about the women. So I just wanted to,
Hmm.
women interacting with other women is the theme of this
Yes.
whole series.
Yes.
Uh, just protecting themselves against the men.
Hmm.
I wanted to that it would continue with the women and standing up for other women. So Hidimba is definitely overshadowed. I think one other person who has not been very widely spoken about or written about is Vidur himself.
Hmm.
He's a very able statesman. He was there from the beginning. So, he was Dhritarashtra's side, he knows Pandu's
Hmm.
side, he has Duryodhan grow up, he has seen Yudhishthir. So I think it would be interesting to see a story from his perspective,
Hmm.
honestly.
Oh yeah, he's uh, one generation above and he has seen it also. So yes, that would be really interesting. He would know actually where the seed was sown.
Yeah, right. So that's why I feel like I wish somebody would write about Vidur. I don't know if I would ever consider it, but I definitely would like to see a female perspective from about Vidur and also a male perspective about Vidur.
Hmm.
Karn Draupadi ka bahut ho gaya. I'm just a bit it's a bit saturated, quite
Yeah.
frankly, in my mind.
Why don't you only do it? I see you already have the idea. And I remember from our first interaction, I think you mentioned that you were discussing it with your daughter, and your daughter said, why don't you do it if it's not been done?
I Yeah, so I don't know, maybe at some point. The instinct, right, it has to be like compelling. Yeah, I can't keep this inside me anymore, and I'll
Yeah.
be able to. Yeah, the seed is somewhere, so let's see.
Yeah. Hopefully, you will continue writing in this genre and keep us also happy as readers.
Thank
Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's episode. Did we miss out any comments? Snowfall wala song. Snowfall wala kaun sa song tha? I don't remember. Aparna, if you're still there, and let us know which Snowfall wala song. Srikant is saying most of the incidents and occurrences in Mahabharata were perhaps considered the norm for its time. Is there a risk of misinterpreting that society when looking at it from a modern
That's a
lens?
great question, Srikant. And I think yes, it is possible that people can misinterpret it. So I think that is one of the reasons why I'm writing why I'm not sticking to the original Vyas version, because you don't want a meek, docile, submissive woman. The
Hmm.
original Vyas Draupadi, if you look at the original Draupadi, right, she is very dharmic. She's very much in line with the norm of that time. And people say
Hmm.
feisty, she was very courageous. The only time in the Vyas Mahabharata where she said something that is not that people could see as rebellious is in the Vastraharan incident, where she only raises one question: did Yudhishthir lose himself first, or did he lose me first? And if he lost himself first, how can he wager me? तो
Hmm.
वो एक बात कहती है. There is nothing in the entire Vyas Mahabharata where she is not following the lines of those times. However, she is the finance minister of Indraprasth, so she was very much a working woman. She knew the ins and outs of the empire's working. So there is that aspect of it where she is just not simply preening herself to make herself look
Hmm.
pretty. She's doing her job as the queen, as the finance minister of the land. She knows exactly what's happening in the kingdom. She's very much devoted to her subjects, but at the same time, she's not this feisty as is so often shown. So there is very much a room for misinterpretation of those times when society is looking at it through the modern lens. But I think it's history does repeat itself, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you want to keep the things relevant for the current times so
Hmm.
that people.
Yes. I think that's also important as a person who's writing mythofiction inspired from such an old text, where you also have to fit it according to modern times, right? The
Yeah,
reader today should be able to connect to it.
yeah,
इतना भी पुराना नहीं लिखना है कि समझ में ही नहीं आए.
exactly. Or
Yeah.
okay, this is just irrelevant. This is not worth. It's not
Hmm.
relevant. But I think it's important to keep that balance.
Yeah. Shrikant is thanking you for the
For
answer.
very
Yes, it's a very relevant question, I must say. Important question. Yes. Thank you so much for asking that, Shrikant. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much, Sonali, for joining me for the third time. And before I sign off, I have to ask you, when can we expect the next book of the series?
so one per year is what I have. That's the contract which I will deliver on. Sometime in 2025 middle, I would say. उसके
Uh,
पहले तो नहीं. Uh,
so next Diwali, same.
yeah, खाली मुलाकात time ही होगी.
Yeah, I think all my subsequent Diwalis till the series ends are going to be booked with you now.
It's always that with you, and like I'm actually looking forward to the older couples love story that you write. I want to see how it is going to be different, if at all it is going to be different, and also the similarities कि जवानी के time पे क्या हुआ था. So like
Thank you. You have motivated me. Now I'm going to work, I double the efforts on starting to, put it together, bring it out as soon as possible.
जल्दी, like really looking forward.
Thank you. And as always, it's been wonderful talking to you. Congratulations on the book and all the best on the next one.
Thank you. Same to you, and happy Diwali to you.
Yes, happy Diwali. Have a great festive week. है ना? चलो. See you next Diwali. And of course, we'll be in touch. Yeah. Bye.